All right, we're going live with another Discord League Last Chance Qualifier round of 64 match, this time between Noman playing Scorpion and Cobalt Blue playing Crane. I've previously casted Noman playing this same Scorpion Crab deck in the Season 5 Discord Cup. I have not seen Cobalt Blue play Crane before, but the players were already waiting a little while before we started up, so we'll probably just jump into the game without taking a closer look at the deck. It'll just be a moment while the players complete their mulligans before we jump into this game. I'm contacting Jokingly, who is a crab player who's a frequent regular of the Discord Cup. He'll be jumping on this call in just a moment. Alright guys, I've got Jokingly with me to co-commentate this stream. What do you think about these round one flops, Jokingly?
I think this is probably in the range of what each player would like to see. I think Crane obviously wants a cautious scout on turn one, but this double whisper savvy politician flop should be okay. And then, well, I didn't see a Shoju +2 coming, but I guess there you go.
Yeah, interestingly, Noman only runs two conflict characters, so he can only represent so much by first passing. Shoju, I guess, is pretty strong into a cheap board, right? Because he can represent the kill pretty easily on basically any 2-drop, right?
Yep.
Uh, but I think with the Liar showing at the same time, he's not going to be stuck with just one character that the Crane can easily play around. So we actually see that the Crane player is the one who's just bypassing. So uh, we've had sort of an abbreviated pregame today, so I haven't taken a close look at the decks yet. But maybe you can do a quick survey of the Crane deck and get back to us, jokingly.
Yeah, I pulled it up a little bit earlier. It looks pretty, I guess, stock. I think he's on a Dragon Splash, opting for 2 Let Go, 3 Fury. He is running Test a Skill, which I know is not always the case in these decks anymore. No Censures, 1 Immentive Feat, 1 Noble Sack. So I would call it a pretty, I guess, stock list, if you will.
Does he is he likely to be holding back a political rival with 6 Fate in the bank on round one? You said he was on Dragon Splash, so we know he's not trying to pull off a weird Fate worse than death play.
Yeah, so he's only running 2 rivals, but that's about all he could be representing here. So we could just see, I guess, a province trade if he wants to political rival half the shoju and then take the trade back.
I think it would have to be something like that. With Six Fate, obviously he can play several Furies if he has them, like two. But with that Liar sitting off to the side of Shoju, you have to be pretty confident that there's at least one Forged Edict coming your way.
I would think so. Yeah, I would want to see a rival here and just probably force a Void Ring, right? You want to get this Shoju off the table as fast as you can.
Yeah, so we'll see what Cobalt Blue chooses to do with his first conflict. He didn't play out a character, so I guess they've both passed their first conflict, waiting for the other to take the first move, and it looks like it is going to be that political rival play.
Yeah, and with no one on actual Zero Fate, this seems like a pretty safe attack.
Yeah, I can't say that I think a break is likely here, but he could get to resolve a ring.
I'm not too familiar with the Crane player himself. Obviously, Noman is a bit of a household name at this point, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know who Cobalt Blue is. This is the last chance qualifier, so we know that they've done something either in the league or in a paper tournament. I wish we did know what his pedigree was. It's possible he's a very accomplished Crane player, and we just don't know which Kote he did well in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so this is what pretty much what you have to do to hope to get anything out of this attack. I think that Void is a better choice than Fire, just because getting attack back with Void is pretty bad, and neither of these characters have particularly high glory. Um, and yeah, especially seeing Shameful Display, you're not actually protecting yourself from being dishonored by running an attack like this with the Fire Ring.
Yeah. Yeah, without a good honor target on his side of the board, I know Crane loved the early Fire Ring, turn on your voice on it, all that fun stuff, but there's really nothing to honor on this board. And now he's going to allow that Void Ring to come back.
Yeah, I hope he remembers that a Steward of Law for Shame combo won't work against Shoju, who can just instantly kill the Steward.
Right, right. He's only left himself one fate to play with, so I would guess that this is going to end without a break. He'll resolve a Fire Ring. I'm not even sure what you do with it. I guess you just dishonor Shoju.
If you dishonor Shoju, Forged Edict starts off disabled on the next round, which is better than nothing.
Yep.
But yeah, it's not going to stop the break coming back at you on its own.
No, I think we're likely to see a Fury get thrown out there and then a Forged Edict to stop it, if that's his line.
So we've seen two fans come down and Cobalt's in the tank right now. I wonder if what he has. For Shame does the first for Shame does literally nothing except, well, pretty much nothing at all. With the Liar on Zero
Yeah.
Glory.
Yeah, I think if you have a court games for your Whisperer, you would try and use it.
Yeah, that's a possibility. But then something like this can happen. The assassination coming down on the Doji Whisperer.
Interesting.
This indicates to me that Noman doesn't think he has to give up the loss here, even. Yeah.
Certainly. So I don't know if we're gonna see. I'm not sure what we're He's on a Crab Splash.
Calling in favors is a good one. The rival had 2 fate left, and it makes good use of that honored token on the Zero Glory character. Pretty hard to climb out of this hole, I think.
Yeah, there's not a lot of prime. Calling in favors targets, and he's actually on all 3 in his deck, so getting to win a conflict with it is about as good as it's going to get.
An assassination attempted by the Crane player cancelled by Forged Edict. This does make it more likely that Shoju will get Furied in the next conflict. But the Crane player down to 6 honor on round 1 against a pretty hard dishonor list.
Yeah. That was pretty good.
Yeah, policy debate. That's going to be a very good one. Yeah, sees the 1 Fury, so no. While Cobalt Blue set this up pretty well, the policy debate seals the deal that the break is coming back at him.
Yeah, he actually spent that last fate there to admit defeat, so unless he hit an error, he wasn't going to have gas for it anyway. I think we'll certainly see the Fury hit the bin here. There it goes. So he gets his break, which is good. Now, really, what do you do with this fire ring? I guess just dishonor the liar in case you want to attempt to honor the rival.
That does turn on Voice of Honor, but his hand's been revealed, so he's just hoping to draw into it. But we'll see if Noman even lets him get any more draws off this game without being heavily punished.
Yeah,
Getting a free
Noman
break on Shameful,
hits
have to
true here.
imagine this is the worst case scenario, right?
Yep, that's exactly what he wanted to see. If he had hit either of the air provinces, he could at least attempt a Miramoto's Fury,
I
but
think that's also the worst discard, honestly. Political rival can be very intense in these political heavy clan battles. You really want them, and discarding it at random is just not great.
yeah, absolutely. The rival is what kind of breaks the stalemate and gets you a little bit ahead, and then the guest honor is what seals the deal. And so he is now, with only 2 in the deck, 1 in the bin, he's got to lean on this rival pretty hard here in the next turn or 2 to keep the pace up. Pretty powerful turn for Noman overall. He's up 3 cards, 3 honor, so.
Yeah, I think he played that excellently. I do wonder. So he is first player, so that's good, seeing the challenger across the table. Although with the dynasty flop that he has, he's not really representing any easy prey for the challenger to pick on, except possibly the diplomat. But I think we'll just see a big Bayushi Unico or just full-on pass from Noman. Yeah, we get the big Unico. So this is like the core set Scorpion Super Friends game.
No kidding. Yeah, he's got that favorable ground, which is obviously very handy against the challenger. And he's going first, so I would think that Cobalt would end up buying the Brash Samurai and the Whisperer here, but you would probably know that better than I.
Well, they both just fold to Shoju Unico, but you do have to try to play the game, right?
Right.
trying to figure out what I think the players will bid. Noman is already up 3 cards and knows the 3 cards in Blue's hand. Um, does depend a little bit on what those 6 cards are as far as what Noman decides to do, but he does have a storehouse. Even though his opponent has one, he is the Scorpion Crab, so he gets to dictate how this goes this round.
Yeah, I mean, the crab in me says bid 1, but
They both take the middle road, so I think that is actually fine for both players, right? It's not going to change the tempo that much.
yep.
I think Cobalt Blue has maybe one more turn to try to find a guest of honor or something like that to try to get some ability to mess with the Scorpion player before he's just in a bit of a pickle.
Yeah, Forged Edict is off, which is good news for Cobalt Blue. So if he was able to draw into, I mean, another Fury would be pretty hot here.
Yeah, Fury would be good, and there's a 2/3 chance that he'll get the Fate from the flip. And yeah, he hits Fertile Field, so getting that Secret Air Fate. And another card coming in.
Yeah, that's pretty much like exactly what he was hoping to see. So see what one's representing. For a military conflict, not a ton. No bonsais. It's got 3 Pathfinder's Blades, 2 Watch Commanders.
Pretty much the only thing that would generate large value out of Pathfinder's Blade in this matchup is the Shameful, and that was broken for free on the first round. So
Yep.
at this point, he'll get incremental advantage when he does draw those Pathfinder's Blades, but they're not the like super power cards they are in some other matchups anymore. And yeah, we see that right here. He's using it just to get a little bit of an edge in this conflict. Because the bids have started to go down, denying a draw is probably fine. Yeah, and that's what
Yeah.
we see. You did mention that Forged Edict is off, and the ideal time to do that Noble Sack is going to be right after this conflict if he's running it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of interesting to me. I mean, the Void Ring's a good target with the rival, but Noman could have pushed fire here and at least attempted to turn that off, right? I guess
Yeah, I
you're in a
think that's
spot
a
where he can
reasonable
sack mid
idea
conflict, but
to go fire to deny it, but the Noble Sack opportunity. But it doesn't actually deny it if it was a fire conflict. Cobalt Blue could use the Noble Sack during the conflict if he thought he was going to lose it anyway.
he could absolutely. But it would force him to. Wow, this is pretty aggressive.
Yeah, I think he's throwing away the game if he bids anything other than 1. Yeah, Noman doesn't want to lose, that's for sure.
Yeah. Let's see if that one of Noble Sack comes out here. It would be a pretty big game.
Did Noman bid to tie? That's a weird choice.
Yeah, that is a weird choice.
Well, the player who was up 1 was Cobalt Blue. Couldn't really afford to go a 5-1 here, so bidding 3. Then Noman somehow figured out that Cobalt was willing to lose 2 but not 3 honor and bidding 4. So a little bit of mind games there, for
Yeah,
sure.
it's always, you can talk yourself in circles with the policy debate bids, right? Convince yourself that your opponent's going to read your bid and then bid this, and then you counter bid that, and walk down a very long line. So
So Shoju is safe from Void, and the rival's Void Fate is stripped. It's an interesting line from Noman just because it alleviates the honor pressure on Cobalt Blue so far by like a lot. Getting that 2 honor when those 2 characters leave play. He could try to re-dishonor the rival when it decides to participate in a conflict.
what do you think here? Military water?
Yeah, I think military water to stand the Brash Samurai could be worth it, and to get the money.
Yeah, he'll get to the Fate. He can hook Shoju. Shoju then can leave or get flipped, but most likely leave.
Well, this is risky, huh? His last character with Fate is going into political against Shoju.
Yeah, I'm not sure why you would attack political here. We know he has a court games, so I guess he can just honor his challenge and be pretty.
Yeah, he just had to dodge the other 2 provinces, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't want to hit Pilgrimage or Secret Cache here particularly. Or he's not running Secret Cache, he's running Meditations. Well, no, he would be running Meditations anyway.
No.
I
He's
forgot
running.
about my elements. Secret Cache is just too good to be air.
Yep. This line does pretty much blank this rival. Ooh, that's gonna hurt.
Well, the steward's gonna die, but the that makes it harder for the challenger to die.
Yeah, but he fated the steward.
Noman's figuring out what the trick is, or trying to figure out what the trick is. He's like, yeah, I mean, it could be a trick. Oh, he does think it's a trick. He assassinates
Yeah.
instead. That makes sense
Wow.
just because it turns his stronghold back on, and he's the player with the City of the Open Hand. So so it does make sense in that sense. Bringing both players down to 5 is better for Scorpion than having one down at 6 and you being up at 8. So or
Sure.
7. But man, that I have never seen that. I've never seen an assassination played into online Voice of Honor um, with Shoju's both of his abilities available. But
Yeah, and the weird thing now is that Shoju's second activation doesn't do anything as the board stand.
yeah, if he didn't have that second, or if he didn't have that court games, the second activation of Shoju would have taken it from 6-5 to 4-5, right?
Um, well, the second activation is just going to square it up. So, like, the attacker's winning either way, right? Taking him from 6-5 to 5-5 doesn't do anything. So he's honored again. So he's got another Shoju activation, but again, it's
Yeah, I see what you're saying. The first's been used, so only the second remains. So yeah, it just brings it down to 5-5. It makes you wonder why he didn't just use it on the steward.
Yeah.
Indicates maybe there's more card play coming, or it could have been an oversight. The one thing we can say for sure is that Cobalt Blue has spent his entire hand to keep the conflict alive.
Yes. And unfortunately for him, the way this played out is this is a political conflict, and so this rival is going to do a whole lot of nothing this turn.
I think we actually know Cobalt Blue's hand, right? Because we saw Bonsai last turn, and he played Steward, so he must have for shame.
Yeah, that's fair. Gotta wish you had that back a little bit, but ends up passing. Pass on through, and now this is a very good board for the Scorpion player.
He is staring down a honored challenger with Cobalt Blue going first, but I think he'll just keep his favorable ground and it will be fine.
Yeah.
Nope, doesn't think he needs it.
Wow.
Scorpion players
Wow.
never cease to surprise me. And yet somehow they're always right.
Can't imagine double Kaizen is what he was hoping to see here.
Yeah, you could play Narishma and try to flip something better, but Hiroe showed you Unico. That Corset combo is likely to be what he's up against, and a one political character is not great for that situation.
Yep. Wow.
So, I mean, we know that Scorpion's trying to apply both breaking and dishonor pressure. Um, does Cobalt Blue only have a one assassination enlist? Or is he just
He
gonna
has
hold back a
two.
counter?
He's got 2 assassinations, but it is fairly unlikely that the blackmail artist is going to get punished. I think what we're fairly likely to see is a watch commander hit the board pretty soon for Noman. Kind of interesting that he doesn't box before the bids.
Yeah, so he just missed a box for the turn, most likely. He did get the passing fate, though. I do think bidding 5 is correct for Crane here when you're behind on board. Just, I don't think you have any other win conditions than trying to figure out a better sequence of cards in hand, especially when you were down to 2 before. If you're behind on board and you have no hand, you're just behind. We'll see what he tries to do to turn it around.
Yeah, and he's got, he's got 2 more Furies in this list, and a Fury is still a pretty big game here. if he can resolve it. So Oni Mask on the blackmail artist.
Well then, that explains the 3 fate.
It does. It does.
Interestingly enough, that blanks the challenger, so it's a big deal.
Absolutely.
Well, test of skill being used, adding Miyamoto's Fury and Crane, Wave the Crane to hand, discarding Steward of Law, Court Games. Um, that's 2 step forwards, 2 step back, as far as I'm concerned. We, I think you won all your copies of Steward of Law and Court Games for this matchup.
Yeah, I agree. I think Finding a Fury is very good, and it's still very good this turn, no matter how Noman attacks. He's likely to get something out of it. Noman has potential to forge Edict once, but Voice of Honor is currently live, so could get into a fight over it. See what this challenger wants to do. I would imagine it's a military for his meditations here.
That's what we see.
The air ring.
Air Ring for the extra fate. Air Ring always relevant in this match, so I think it's fine. We know it turns on his Fury and 1 more fate for whatever else he's got in hand.
Yeah. Undefended is kind of interesting. Oh, Oni Mask itself doesn't have to participate. I had to read the card.
Yeah, me too. Just reading all the details on that one, it's not a card that regularly sees competitive play. It's during a conflict, remove 1 fate from attached character, choose a participating character, and blank the box except for traits until the end of the conflict. So, a fade is what you pay 1 time to put Cloud the Mind on someone, hopefully forever. Oni Mask having the same weaknesses to let go as Cloud the Mind, although it's more vulnerable to calling in favors because putting it on or having it stolen gives the opponent a proactive effect that's positive. And it is Seeker only, so a bunch of restrictions that make a lackluster card even less appealing. Sort of explains the trends we normally see.
Yeah. So, unfortunately for Cobalt Blue, he needed the 2 fate from that air ring to be able to cast a second Testa skill, which now finds the let go. A little bit too late, but
Yeah, choosing to add Noble Sack to hand is interesting since now he has to choose, I guess, between Noble Sack and Miyamoto's Fury with Forged Edict online.
yeah, I think that's, I guess with only 1 fate, that's kind of rough, huh?
Yeah, I think so. And on top of that, he uses a Voice of Honor to cancel away the Scorpion on the Challenger. That would have made it not breaking. But that's 1 less Voice of Honor for other pivotal moments in the game.
He's got another way of this.
Yeah, playing a Fine Katana onto a character with no fate is less than perfectly efficient most of the time. But it is necessary to maintain breaking status in this conflict.
Yeah, you got to get the breaks when you can here. you don't want to attack again into Meditations because it's live if he gets a second attack this turn. So
Yeah, this is his only character really that that can do anything to it. So yeah,
yep.
I don't disagree. He's kind of putting the pedal to the metal here. Um, and I mean he's not that far behind. After round one, it looked I think worse than it looks right now. Shoju will leave play this round, although Noman is running Reprieve, so only 1x, but um, the let
One
go's
X, and we
ready to
know he's on the
fire.
let go.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's true. So Noman's thinking here. He could have something big like a fate worse than death, but I think he'd rather use it on Kazin.
Yeah, he's definitely got action in his deck. We'll see if he's got it in his hand. Shoots down a Doju. 3 assassinations.
3 assassinations in deck, 3 assassinations used. That turns the box
Wow.
back on, which I suppose makes his bid at the beginning of round make a little bit more sense. Also really constricts what Cobalt can do with the rest of his turn. So he'll be at 4. Looks like he's going to claim the air ring, so probably 6. But there's a blackmail artist and a fire ring and all kinds of nastiness.
Yeah, if he's got the fate worse than death here,
Oh
it's
my
gonna
god, he
get.
does. That's pretty crippling, honestly. It denies the air ring, and
Yep.
that means that Noman can swing in with the air ring, and with the blackmail artist trigger, that will take Cobalt down to 2, I think. So 4 with the box. Yeah, then 3, 2, and 1 if it's undefended for some reason.
Well, as it stands, Shoju just machine guns Kazin,
You're
right?
absolutely right. That could be the plan, and it's a hard plan to prevent with 1 fate. He
Yep. We know he's got that fury,
oh, and he has no
but
fans. He has no fans, and he's played one Way of the Crane. We know he has a Way of the Crane in hand because of the test of skill. But in a situation like this, that's a valid edict target.
yeah, I mean, if he kills Kazin, he gets 2. The worst case scenario here for Cobalt is 2 undefendeds, an air, and a. But he does let the way of the cream resolve.
Oh
So.
my, there are 2 conflicts remaining. So I think in this position then, uh, you could go military first. They have to block. But he's going for the political attack right now, it looks like. Noman really expertly stringing out that first conflict to just get the maximum commitment from Crane before shutting the door.
Yep. We have to. Well, if this fury can resolve, He's not in the worst sorts, but
Defender first. So, let's see. He's not quite far enough ahead. The Fury does resolve, interestingly enough.
okay. And the box theoretically takes down the blackmail artist if he needs to, right?
That's true. So I believe there's no way for Noman's particular build to win from this position, but he could still take Kazin down with him.
Yeah, he's played two Way of the Scorpions,
How many court games, though?
and he's played one court game.
So he's already pretty much at his average draw for those cards. Uh,
He's played
for shame.
zero games.
Yeah, for shame 1 leads to the bow.
Yeah, just take the bow.
Oh wow. Okay, so he didn't have for shame 2 to take the honor token off, but with Kazin not leaving the game for 2 more rounds, that's not necessarily part of his dishonor plan. What it does do is reset the air ring for the unopposed heir coming in again.
Yeah, this is still going to take him to 1 by the time this turn is done with the challenger leaving, so
Wow, that's super interesting. He actually flips his own stats to prevent breaking because he wants meditations up next round when the blackmail artist will have no fate.
yeah, he's first player, right? So he's all in on trying to win an air ring.
Yeah, and he also
Or
baited
I
out the
guess.
meditations on the blackmail artist in the first conflict, so Unico sticks around for the next round.
Yeah, I like the play from Noman. It's could have gone a little better for Cobalt there.
So everyone knows what they're looking for, and they don't see it in their provinces. Everything leaves. Asami potentially interesting for the Crane player, can um, get you honor back mid conflict, which could save him for a little longer. Favored Nice, great for trying to find whatever card you need to really seal out the game. If Noman drops a Watch Commander in a conflict at this stage, there's no way for Cobalt to deal with it, as the card play required to remove it would kill him.
Yeah, I would play my looter here. Play the favored niece out, and you're digging for Watch Commanders. Fate Worse Than Death. There's still one left.
Yeah, there's
A lot
plenty
of
to
the
dig
ways
for
to.
here. Nice seems good. Yeah, Noman agrees. So Cobalt's side only represents 4 political skill from Kazin, 3 from Asami, 1 from Samurai, and 2 from Politician. Including Unico's flip ability, I think it's favorable for Noman, who does have the first conflict.
It is. We'll see if he can sneak an Asami activation in, or even some kind of savvy politician noble sack setup.
The Noble Sack setup is real. We know he has it in hand. It would gain him an honor and kill a character, so pretty good. You wouldn't necessarily want to kill your only skill on the board right now in the form of Kazin, but it gives you a little bit more interactivity potential.
Rash Samurai.
Samurai typically not participating alone in like dire all-in circumstances, so 2-1 for 2 is not great, but it is one better than the Cautious Scout as far as just total stats.
Yeah, if everybody blocks, Asami is live, correct?
Yeah, that's true.
Will help a little bit.
It's a
Still,
1 point difference, including the favor. Yeah, Noman chucking Pathfinder's Blade, chucking Fate Worse Than Death.
interesting.
He has a fan, so now he wouldn't. The first trigger Asami would not be live, but both the niece and the upple artist can be bowed by the crane box. Let go coming
Yeah,
out, so we could see a Watch Commander come out here. The fan would be. Oh, nope. It's just the Kachiko, and that's a pretty impactful card.
well then.
So if he already had the Kachiko, that would be why he threw away his Fate Worse Than Death. He would know
Yeah,
that he couldn't play it this turn anyway, and Cobalt just GG's upon seeing Kachiko come down. That just completely changes the math for the conflict, and it's clear that Cobalt was pretty gassed after the last round, so it's a fair concession.
yeah. I think some sequencing choices early did not help Cobalt Blue. His political rival was extremely ineffective, which he was kind of all in on that play out of the gates. It got him behind and showed you Unico just started doing their thing.
Yeah, really just pretty clean play out of Noman, and Cobalt Blue not seeing the cards he needed to see. Um, so that's going to be it for this one. It's sad for me to see a Crane go. Um, I know you play Crab jokingly, and there's sort of a friendly rivalry between the two clans on the Discord server, but surely Blue is closer than Red.
Absolutely. And this is the LCQ, so it's a little bit less, but I think Noman is threatening to pass me in uh, qualifier points for the Invitational too. So
Oh wow, do you have a game in the LCQ coming up, jokingly?
yeah, I need to schedule that still. Haven't played in the LCQ yet. I'm hoping to sneak by on at large points, but it's looking like we're gonna have to at least play one round and see what happens. So
Yeah, it looks like you're up against a Phoenix player first. Robo Saber.
yeah, it should be interesting. it's he doesn't have access to all of his fun new stuff, so I think the match is a little crab favored. Don't let a prodigy of the waves run away with anything, and should be good to go. So, but we
Yeah.
shall see.
Yep, I agree with that. So Noman is having passed Cobalt Blue is on to the round of 32. His next opponent will be either Kakita Lineal, another Crane player, or Chaely, a Dragon player. Dragon's definitely favored in Dragon vs. Crane, so it'll be interesting to see the outcome of that match. But that's it for today. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll be back. I'm so tired today. We'll be back with more coverage of the LCQ and Discord Cup Season 5 next time.
Right on. Thanks, Luke.